Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 Warhammer battle. Before I jump into the unit compositions and all that, this is going to be Double Empire versus Beastmen and Wood Elf. The name of this lobby that I joined is 2v2, no noobs, only skilled players, something like that. And so, I took this a little more seriously than some other games. You can see I have a very deep deployment here, and I'm deployed like this specifically because they said, you know, skilled players only, so I just want to let you know I'm taking this a little more seriously than normal. So our front line here is going to be 4 Flagellants and a Sigmar Sons. We have 3 Halberdier groups kind of spread out. We have the Arch-Lector backing up the Royal Antwerp Griffites and another Demi-Griffnite with Halberd because we're facing against Beastmen and Wood Elves. Both have very large creatures that are troubling to take down otherwise. And then to assist in that specific like anti-Gorbel, anti-Minotaur, anti-Trees. I also brought 3 handgunners deployed in the back, but they are close enough to support the front line for whenever the battle starts, so I had kept them that close. And then also have 2 Spearmen back here, just in case someone gets some like hounds or something behind us. Also keep in mind, for this battle, there was no tactical map. I didn't realize you could disable the tactical map in a multiplayer battle lobby, so I am constantly doing this, because I'm like, if they disabled the multiplayer, or the map, they probably have some like Shenanigan Vanguard, or like Chaos Puppy kind of deployment shit, and hoping that we can't see them, because we have no map to rely on, so we have to actually look around. So I was doing this like the entire battle, because I was kind of on edge without a battle map there. But anyway, that's my army composition. The Arch-Lector and his Demi-Griff Knights, I really do like that build. Also, I have a Jade Wizard with just the basic healing spell, no mounts or anything else. My ally has a front line of Swordsmen, slightly upgraded, 2 Halberdiers, 2 Great Swords, a General of the Empire, an Empire Captain, and a Bright Wizard with some buff spells and the Vortex spell. And they also brought 4 crossbows. And that's going to be my allies' army. Oh, no, of course, also the, where are you? Hellstorm Rocket Battery. My enemies for this one, they're kind of mixed up right here, but you see 2 Deepwood Scouts that are about to open fire on my front line. Besides that, for the ranged, I think we have 1 Ungor Raider that's been upgraded a lot. We have 4 Bestigors in here, 2 Centigors, 4 Ungor Herds, which are the stalking versions. They're being led by Kazrak. We have a base Shaman of Shadows with a Pendulum Spell, Withering, Pit of Shade? No, Pit of Shades, but some Devo spells and Pendulum. Like I said, some Ungor Spearmen, Herds. I hate when they all mixed up like this. But yeah, 4 Ungor Herds, 4 Bestigors, a couple Spears, Kazrak, Centigors, 1 Ungor Raider. The Wood Elf player has 5 Treekin, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 Treekin. They are being led by Durthu himself, and they have a front line of a couple Eternal Guards with shields. They do have a group of, maybe 2 groups of War Dancers. Again, I hate when, yeah, 2 groups of War Dancers with Azrai Spears. And that's going to be their main army. They are mostly melee focused with the leader of Durthu, and then they do have 2 ranged up here that are going to be shooting me. So as soon as they opened up fire, our Hellstorm Rocket Battery was able to open fire as well, but then I was pulling our units back and we lost sight of them. So I'm going to actually keep my Sigmar Sons up here. They are unbreakable, and I'm kind of actually using them like a Roam 2 tactic where you would screen with shield units. To make sure that the Deepwood Scouts cannot get close enough to fire on my Flagellants, which cannot take as much damage as these guys can. I mean, these guys are going to take a lot of damage, but they are at least shielded, and they will not break. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and let this happen. I don't want these guys taking out my Flagellants right now. These guys at least have a chance of blocking it. Nothing else on my army does, so we're just going to let them use their ammunition. I'm just going to keep screening with our Sigmar Sons, as the Beastman army is going to move over in this direction, and the Wood Elves are going to be coming up here. And again, I was trying to keep sight with the Sigmar Sons on these guys so that they could be sniped by crossbows, which my allies stopped moving up, and also the Hellstorm Rocket Battery. Hellstorm Rocket Battery did shoot a couple rounds of them, but now they are focusing into this Beastman horde. 4 of these units we can't, or 5 of these units we can't even see. All those Ungor Herds and the Ungor Raider we can't even see because, of course, they have Stalk. But since we have the artillery advantage, we do have a nice hill here. We have, you know, handgunners and crossbows that can fire downhill, which is your ideal target, or your ideal situation. We did not pick the map. They picked the map, so, you know, we didn't pick this for this particular advantage to have the, you know, the high ground. And you can see I'm just continually moving our Sigmar Sons to try and keep our shielded side on these Deepwood Scouts. We are using a lot of their ammunition, almost about half, just to try and bring down the Sigmar Sons. In this situation, I think it's kind of worth it because they would chew through our Flagellants even quicker and use less ammo to do it. So this is the least amount of damage they can deal to me. So we're just going to allow these guys to kind of tank it. So that's what they're doing. Not something you see often, but again, this is more of a serious battle because I assume they wanted it to be. Crossbowmen are finally moving up, so they're going to try and threaten the Beastman army that is moving up. I'm also moving up our handgunners, and we're going to be targeting their Ungor Raiders who are going to be moving up here and trying to open fire. And you can see they have been upgraded a lot. A lot of money spent on those Ungor Raiders. And it's going to be a pretty slow battle. Right now I'm getting one group of halberds to try and get this space closed off. Because, you know, my Sigmar Sons are out here and not in the middle anymore. Right now my allies Bright Wizard is going to drop a Vortex spell. Ungor Raiders getting into position, so I'm like, well, let's just open fire on the Ungor Raiders. So that's what we're going to do. Sigmar Sons still taking... Actually, I guess they're not. I guess these guys are firing at the crossbowmen right now. You see that the Wood Elf army is now getting into position with their front line of spears and their back line of Treekin and then Durthu. And also I missed that they had a spell Singer of Life. They also had that too, with the 2 heal spells. But you can see our riflemen are just going to utterly destroy these Ungor Raiders. As our crossbowmen ally is going to be firing into the Ungor Spearmen. And next I'm going to start targeting the Bestigors one by one is my next target. And they obviously don't have any Gorbals, which I was really shocked to see. And that's what I was expecting. That's why I'm keeping 2 Demigryph Knights units back here with the Archlector. They are here to protect the handgunners, as are the Spearmen and the Halberdiers. Everything is kind of revolving around these 3 handgunners. And I don't have the typical... Wizard of Light with the net spell, which is what you usually put with this kind of combo, so they can snipe targets and eat pins down. So I'm going to kind of devote more resources to protect them. But right here, you can see we are chewing through a lot of Bestigors. Going to throw in our Flagellants right here and an Earthblood to make sure they tank these Bestigors for as long as possible. Going to get these guys behind and do a rear charge on these Bestigor unit. As we continue shooting up others. Now we're going to be focusing on this Bestigor, who's going to be getting into our Sigmar Sons. And you can see these Deepwood Scouts are just chewing through our crossbowmen. My ally is now going to be engaging against the Treekin and Internal Guard of the Wood Elf player. But the artillery is still safe and sound back here, just peppering the Beastman line. I guess actually these Bestigors. And I'm just going to be very slow. There's no reason to charge. We have the range advantage, so there's no reason to charge. But yes, they have these 2 Deepwood Scouts, but they're almost out of ammunition. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. We're doing a lot of good damage here shooting these Bestigors, and now the other enemy's going to charge. So apparently we both had the same idea, and you can see here I'm trying to charge these Centaurs, but now they're going to pull out a couple reserve Ungor herds, so we're just going to pull back and try and get back to our front line. But yeah, so this Beastman player was very patient, and I am very patient, so they're just kind of sending a couple units in at a time, which I thought was very odd, because it allows me to just focus fire them down with their handgunners. Meanwhile, my allies over here, I'm going to be casting 1 or 2 heal spells over here to assist their front line. I don't think this is one of them. Yeah, this is the Flaming Sword of Ruin. But they are just in this massive melee brawl against a bunch of trees and Eternal Guard. Getting their right... Oh, I'm sorry, they also have Reichsguard, my bad. Getting their Reichsguard in a flanking charge right over there, as my rifles still just continually chew through the Bestigors, and now we're targeting the Bray Shaman of Shadows. Enemy is keeping their Centaurs right here. I'm assuming they're thinking that at some point I'm going to engage my Demigryph Knights, but I see literally no reason to right now. Our Flagellants are holding the front line. Our handgunners are sniping their leadership right now and other units. We have crossbow support over here, so there's no reason to do a hard engage against an enemy that only has melee forces. So I'm just going to sit back here and wait, and they're going to wait. And then we're going to wait. And they're going to wait some more. Ungor Raiders trying to get a flanking attack here. That's okay, there's not much left of them. Getting our Flagellant group over here because I can see that there's kind of a... Actually, what am I doing with Flag? I don't remember. Not entirely sure what I'm doing with them. Moving them, I guess. Elstrom Rock Battery still just peppering the Beastman line. I have no idea what they're doing. So now I am getting into these Bestigors because they are finally going through my 2 Flagellant groups, so we really kind of need to deal with them at this point. So I'm going to move back these riflemen, or the handgunners, because or else they would all just bunch up right here in a massive blob. So I'm trying to spread them out and then issue attack orders over there. There goes one of my heal spells to try and support my allies' frontline forces against the Tree King. Because if my ally falls, then I have all these treemen and elves coming into my flanks, which I'm not going to be able to hold. So I'm trying to help them as best I can with the Jade Wizard. And now that these Bestigors are now running because we've put some more shots into them, I'm actually going to move our handgunners over here. We're going to form a line behind the crossbowmen, and I'm going to keep my halberdier over here to try and protect them. And again, we are waiting with our mobility force. They're waiting with theirs. I have no reason to run these guys in right now. My halberd group is now taking these 2 Ungor herds. I'm now going to threaten these 2 Centaurs to try and get them to do something. So we're running our halberdiers and Flagellants over here that are being chased by Kazarak. But again, I am now more focused against helping my other Empire allies. So we're going to get our gunning line over here. And our first target is going to be Durthu, because why not? And again, we're going to cast another heal spell on this army at some point with a Jade Wizard. And now they have engaged my Flagellants and Halberds, so now I'm like, okay, time is now. We're going to get our 2 Demigryph Knights in here to do a counter charge, including our Archlector, who's going to now apply some buff spells. I could have been applying buff spells earlier, but I didn't really want to use them because I needed the buff spells for this fight to make sure the Demigryph Knights win one-sidedly, like all the way. So we're buffing their damage resistance, and now we're also buffing their melee attack to chew through these two Centaurs with great weapons, assisting also our Halberdiers with flagellants, as our handgunners are now over here protected by the Halberdier in case something slips by, and they have just now focus firing Durthu down. He was at full health before, and now we are just pouring into him with these 3 handgunners. And I think I'm casting Arcane Conduit. I cast a heal spell over here as well to support the Demigryph Knight fighting. You see we are routing these Centaurs. We're chewing through these Centaurs again because we have a lot of anti-large here, and we're also killing Kazrak at the same time. We've routed off these 2 Ungor herds with some Spearmen and Halberdiers that we had in reserve. We still have a Spearman unit in reserve and this Halberdier unit in reserve. Now we have sniped Durthu, so now we're going to be changing focus fire on these multiple Treekin that the enemy still has. And they are going to fall very quickly to rifles, because that's what rifles do. And now we are chasing off the Centaurs with our Royal Outdoor Gryphites. We're trying to finish off Kazrak and just chasing off units at this point. Now is the time to kind of charge out and wrap up what the Beastmen have left, as we continue to snipe the Treekin that are still being held in position by these my allies' infantry. I didn't think the allies' infantry was going to hold that long, because they're just mostly swordsmen. They had a couple great swords and Halberdiers in there, but yeah, they held on for a very long time. And now we are just massacring these poor trees with the guns and the crossbow focus fire. And now the Beastmen are going to do a chain route, and the Elves are going to do a chain route. And there you go. So good game to our opponents. Again, I took this game a little more seriously. I didn't just do a hard engage. I was very patient because I expected this game to be, well, filled with really good players, because that's what the multiplayer lobby said. In fact, I even think this Oracle War Master put their name in the title. It said OWM 2v2s, no noob, something like that. So I was like, oh, okay, this player is, I guess, probably pretty good. So let's do it. Let's throw down. Kill counts here, handgunners, MVPs, and they were supposed to be, and I protected them. Was very patient to make sure they did all their damage. The Royal Outdoor Gryphites got a nice charge at the end. Halberdiers, you can see a ton of kills, held off a couple Ungor Spearmen, or Ungor herds. The Flagellants did a great job of just holding Bestigors long enough for me to shoot them up. For my ally here, sniping full, again, their front line held the Treekin and Eternal Guard off for a long time. Greatswords did a lot of work, crossbows did a lot of work. Rice Guard 88 kills is pretty good considering they're fighting against, you know, spearmen, armor-piercing spearmen, that is. And then the Hellstorm Rocket Battery had no threats whatsoever, so it just got a ton of kills. Bright Wizard probably got a couple kills out of that Flaming Skull that they dropped on the Beastman army there early on. For Oracle War Master here, I'm pretty confused as to their tactics. Not necessarily their build. You know, you can go no Gorbals, that's fine. You can go no Minotaurs, that's fine. So yeah, it's not the build, it was just their attack, because it was very staggered. And, like, I could afford to have a staggered defense because I had the range advantage, and we had artillery behind me. But they didn't have any range. Like, they had nothing except for melee forces, and they just threw them in one at a time and allowed my handgunners to just shoot them up. So I'm very, very confused as to what their tactic was, their goal was. And also, they weren't using their Centaurs. Like, their Centaurs and my Demigryph Knights were in kind of a standoff, and technically, they win that fight, kinda. This is the standoff fight, because my Demigryph Knights, I had a ton of money put into them, and the Archlector, obviously, thousands and thousands of gold, as compared to the Centaurs with great weapons, vastly cheaper, but yet there was still that standoff going on. So technically, in that mobility, like, cav fight that was happening by just having a standoff, they win, because I'm having more forces devoted to my standoff than they are of theirs. But, again, I had, you know, the handgunner advantage, so I didn't care that I was just wasting my Demigryph Knights just sitting there doing nothing, because I didn't need them to do anything. I didn't need to apply pressure. They didn't have the army where I needed to apply pressure. So again, I'm really confused about that. Then Durthu here did net 100 kills before he managed to snipe him down. Holy shit. Deepwood Scouts did destroy my Sigmar Sons, but was totally worth it because they weren't destroying my Flagellants, which I needed to hold the best scores with. Treekin got a ton of kills across the board. They're not really killers, they're mostly defensive units, and the Eternal Guards got a lot of kills as well, but it wasn't enough. But yeah, good game to Sniping Fool, Oracle, War Master, and Graphicsism. And I hope you enjoyed that battle, everybody, and let's go watch a cinematic view of it. These Sigmar Sons, they did their duty. They died well.
Come, lads! Slay 'em! Make me proud of the province! Formation, march!
It's a very expensive screening unit, though. These guys are not cheap. But it's all I had. It's the only shield unit I had, so I'm like, let's do it. I think it was worth it. Again, because they're spending half their ammunition on killing one unit, And this ammunition would have chewed through my flash lance really quickly, and that would have been just less units to hold off, you know, the Beastman line. So I think this is a really favorable trade in my side, I think. If these are just normal swordsmen, definitely would be. But, you know, these guys are more expensive. What are they, 700, 750, something like that? They're not cheap. Ooh. This is the part, it just really confused me, sending in a best score unit one at a time. Just look at that, man. Walking into a hail of gunfire. Because really, the Ungor Spearmen should have been, like, this army should be charging right now. Ungor Spearmen leading the way to try and absorb as many shots as they can from crossbows and the riflemen, protecting the best scores that's behind them. By the time that the Ungor Spearmen got to our front line, they would have probably been destroyed by all the range fire, but the best scores would have been relatively untouched. Maybe. I mean, I would have still tried to target the best scores, and since we're at an elevated position, it's a good chance that we still could have shot the best scores, but, I mean, you never know.
Get them! Moving! Fire! Fire! Attack! Get them! I have my orders. Moving now! No lingering! Quickly! For the Warhammer!
Some of that hot dirt through action. Ugh. Nice hit on the general. I'm just trying to get a... No matter what side we're on, I'm trying to see the entire battlefield for us. And there they go off to fight Durthu. Now we're forcing the Centaur's hands. Or hooves. Both. This heal spell was a little ahead. That's right, I didn't actually catch the Demigryph Knights. I forgot I cast this too soon. That was a mistake. Well, at least it still hit some of our units. I really do like the Arch Lector. I wish he had something else, like a little more oomph. And something, I don't, like a better mount, a better unique skill, I don't know. But I feel like he's missing just one thing to really make him really good. Because, like, as it stands, he's just a super tanky Lord, which is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having 120 armor and high melee defense. But I feel like he's just missing something. Open fire!
Counter dry! No lingering! Moving now! Quickly!
God, these handgunners just devastated. Whew! I love these dudes. They're just so cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the battle, everybody. And I will see you all in the next one. Have a great day.